Now we have our whiskers on here and we know that they work. Let's take a look at how we can use them to do an obstacle avoidance or at least influence some of our locomotion. So we're going to do this activity 3, navigating with whiskers. The reason it would jump to activity 3 was because we're following along the Parallax tutorial, and so activity 2 was hooking some LEDs to the breadboard so that you could see them light up whenever you'd have a whisker press. But we have the tone on there, so we don't necessarily need that. Okay, so let's start with our last program, activity 1, whisker test, and I'm going to add some locomotion to it. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to save this off. First I'll save this, then I'm going to do a save as, and this is going to create a new Arduino sketch for me. And so I'm in my right folder, and I'm going to call this chapter 5, activity 3, and I'm going to say, instead of being whisker test, let's call it whisker roam. Okay, so we're off and running. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to do locomotion, okay? And we've kind of seen that, we need some functions to do this. But when we did, up until this point, you can kind of create your own functions and stuff. But what I want to do is, since we're going to be talking about, trying to communicate what we're actually doing, is I want to use these functions, okay? And if you use the same functions, it'll make it a lot easier to kind of follow along. So I'm going to create 5 functions, and one of them is going to be halt. Notice void. It doesn't return anything, so it's just going to stop. And all we do is rewrite the servos 1500 microseconds each, okay? So instead of writing these 2 lines all the time, we're going to do halt. Then I want to create 2 functions called move forward and move backwards, and in these ones I'm actually going to pass a time in. So I have void move forward. The void means that this function will not return anything, but I am going to pass in a parameter, and I'm going to pass in a parameter with the variable named time that'll be used within here, and it's of type integer. And the way that I use it is when I move forward, I'm going to do a right microseconds. Let's go full speed ahead, 1700 on the left, 1300 on the right, and then let's delay for the amount of time that was passed in. So when I type time here, it's going to use the variable that was passed in. Exact same situation when I do move backwards, except that I'm going to just reverse the motors, so it's 1300 on the left, 1700 on the right, and then I'll delay again. And this is going to save me a little bit of effort when I'm programming. And then let's do a turn right 90 and a turn left 90. And these ones, the 90 refers to degrees, so we're just going to go ahead and spin, and then the delay is embedded within here, so it's not, you don't pass in the time. You're just going to have to mess with the delay to make it turn exactly 90 degrees. And this really varies depending on the surface. So when I do this on my desk, it spins really quick. But when you do it on like carpet, it doesn't spin as fast, and so the angles don't come out exactly at 90 degrees. But we want to have these 5 functions in there. Okay, so I'm starting with my program, but let's crank these functions out really quick. So I'm going to go down below my program, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to type these in, and we'll type them in together just so that we're on the same page. And I'm going to put this big comment on here so that I know that this is functions. So functions. Okay, all right. Then let's go ahead, and then there's a lot of copy paste. So I'm gonna do a void, and let's do our halt, okay? And then old halt is gonna do this. All it's gonna do is go servo left right microseconds 1500, and then we're just gonna write the the right servo, right 1500 seconds. Okay, done. Now check this out. I'm going to copy and paste that, and let's go ahead and do our move forward function. And remember that I'm passing in an integer, which is time. And in this situation, I want my left motor to go 1700. I want my right to go 1300. And the difference here is that when I do my delay call, I use the variable time. Okay, so, now I've got my second one done. And if I have a typo in here, I'll fix it when I compile. Now, backwards is actually really easy too. So I'm going to do move backwards. I copy my function from before. So move backward, move forward. And all I do here is I just reverse these polarities. There's my third one. And then we're going to do, let's call this one, what did we decide? Turn right 90. And what I'll do is I'm not going to pass in anything, but I am going to write both of these. I'm going to go 1600 and 1600. Okay, so you probably noticed that I biffed this baby right there. That should be certain. Okay, cool. And I don't go full speed on the turns. It just seems like if you go full speed, it flies. So, but you can do whatever you want. I'm going to do 1600, and then I'm going to delay. It's about 800. We can see what it turns out to be. It's easy to change. All right, let's do turn left. Okay. All right, so I turn right is 1600 on each, and then this one's going to be 1400 on each. Okay, great. So I got myself 5 really nice functions, and so now let's go remind ourselves how we turn these motors on. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is above your setup, we need to attach, or excuse me, we need to do some including. Okay. So the first thing is I'm going to do pound include, and then I'm going to pop the servo.h header in there, and use those greater than or less thans. All right, so great. I've grabbed the servo, and I know that I typed it right because it turned orange. And then I'm going to do servo keyword, and I'm going to create these instances, servo left and servo right, and those are now my user-defined names for the left and right motor. And now what I can do is I can come into the setup, and what I want to do is I come into my setup, and I'm going to do starting Whisker test program. I'm going to go Whisker roam program, and we're still using our whiskers. Okay, so we're going to do the pin mode here. Pin mode, life is good. But now let's get these servos attached. So I'm going to do servo left dot attach, servo left dot lowercase attach, and I have my left on pin 11, and I have my right on pin 12. And if you have them on different pins, that's fine. I just remembered that pin 13 had a little glitch on it, so when you'd start it off, sometimes it would move one of the servos. So I just moved them to 11 and 12. It's kind of cool because if you do move them to another pin, all you do is just change this number. Life is good. First thing I want to do is in my setup, I'm going to go ahead and halt so that they don't take off. And then I will delay, let's give it a second just before we do anything. I don't want the thing just flying. I want it to just do something. Okay. All right. So now we got it. You know, we could put a tone here if you wanted to, just to know halt, delay, and you want to do a tone? Why not? Let's just do a tone, 1K for 500, and then we'll do a delay, 500, just to kind of let us know the program's up and running. All right. So now I'm sitting here. Everything's ready to go, and check this out. I'm going to come into here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to read from my left and right whiskers again, just like I was doing before. And if there's a press on the left, press on the right, these decisions will happen. What we don't have in this if-then is actually a final else clause. So what does it do when you don't have anything pressed? And we didn't need anything before because we didn't want it to do anything, so we just left it out. So essentially it was not going to play a tone. But we want it to do something now when we don't have anything pressed. We want it to actually move forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this final else little clause, and I'll fire up a curly bracket, and I'm going to move forward. So I'm going to move forward, and you only want to move like a little bit forward because remember that this loop is going to be going through just over and over and over and over. So you only want it to move just a little bit forward before you go back and check to make sure that the whiskers haven't been pressed. Okay, so move forward 20 microseconds, and then come back in. And what should we do if we run into something? Okay, so for now, let's do the following. Let's just test this out and make sure that it's working. If I get a press on the left whisker, for example, what I want to do is I want to move backwards and halt for a second, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put right here, in this one right here, and we'll test it first. We'll do it saw the left was pushed, so it does a move backwards, and remember you pass something in. So I'm going to go, let's do a second and a half. So I'm going to move backwards 1500 seconds, and then what I want to do is I just want to stay there for 2 seconds. Now what's going to happen here? It's going to come through, and it's going to be moving. Okay, so it's going to start off, play its tone, and it's going to move, and it's moving. All of a sudden, one of the whiskers is pressed, and it's going to move backwards and sit there for a second, and then it's going to move forward again, because it's going to do this, and then it's going to delay for 2,000 microseconds, and then it'll continue. So let's see if this works. Okay, all right, so I'm going to fire this baby up, and what I need is, when I do this, make sure to put your, make sure, I got an error here, but make sure to put this position in position 1 so that it doesn't take off on us, and we just misspelled backward. Okay, so let's do boom. All right, life is good, and we'll go ahead and fire that baby up. And we'll make sure that this is running. Servo left. Okay, we got misspellings everywhere here, so servo, servo. You probably saw that, didn't you? Servo. No problem, that's why we compile. Okay, we're getting there. Oh, here we go. Okay, so since I have this in position 1 on the power, it shouldn't take off on me. So let's see, it should fire up. New program, takes a few extra seconds. Okay. Now, is it running? Okay, it played a tone, that ain't bad, and now it's off and running. So cool. And our program from before is still on there. So I'm ready. I am ready to see what happens if there's an obstacle. Okay, so I'm going to take an obstacle, and here's my obstacle. Okay, I'm going to put this heavy textbook right here, and when it hits this, it should go backwards. Okay, so now, oh boy. Okay, so here I go. I'm gonna hit reset, and I'm gonna switch into position 2. Here it goes. See what happens when it hits this. It did it. It saw it, backed up. Okay, here we go. Backs up. And yeah, it's flipping my pins out of there. It's working. Okay, so it's kind of doing something. It's kind of acting not exactly as we'd like, but it's doing something. Okay, so let's take a look now. Let's make sure everything's okay here. So I come back into my program, and I have, let's see here. Let's take a look at what's going on. So I come in here and move backwards 1500, and then I delay. Okay, so I don't think I need that delay in there. Oh, I didn't. I delayed, but I really wanted to halt, didn't I? I really wanted to halt. So that was just stupid. So I should have said halt. Okay, so let's see what that does. So I wanted to hit the book, and then I want it to come back. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so I got mine on here. I'm gonna fire this up. Plenty of time here, and we'll know that it goes when starting whisker ROM. Okay, played the tone, life is good. Okay, now I'm gonna unplug this, and so here we go. I'm gonna unplug this. Okay, and I'm gonna hit reset, and I turn to position 2, and here we go. Here it goes. Oh, you know why it's... you know why? You need it to hit just the left whisker. So what was happening, it was just hitting the right whisker, because we only coded it for the left. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Certainly isn't halting, though, is it? It goes backs for 1. Oh, it's because you got to put a delay after the halt. But I got to tell you, look at this. I mean, this is awesome. So it's going forward. Oh, a little whisker. Yeah, you got a little obstacle there. What's up? Okay, cool. So I want this. So this is just great. We're learning all this stuff. We definitely want to have this halt thing work because it's going to move backwards and then it's going to halt, and then I want it to just stop for a little second here, just a couple seconds. I don't know why it's not stopping, but I think we got her now. Oh, you know what else we want to do? Let's do the following. Let's put this in each of these. So if it sees something on the left, go ahead and move backwards. If it sees something on the right, go ahead and move backwards. If it sees something on both, move backwards. That's why I was kind of acting funky before. So let's see. Now we're going to fire this baby up. And this should be perfect. Okay, so we're going to wait for it. I have it in position 1 so it won't take off. I know it'll download when I see the serial monitor go. Okay, so the serial monitor, and there's my tone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this. Okay, and here I go. I'm going to hit reset, put it into power 2. Let's see what happens. Here it goes. Alright, it's going to come up. It sees the book. Goes back. Halt. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Right whisker? Just the right whisker? Oh, yeah. Nice. Just the left whisker? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this. This is awesome. Okay. So now what? Well, here's one last thing we could do. We could do a program where the thing just roams. Okay, so let's do a program where it roams around. So the only difference in a roaming program is that instead of just moving, backwards, it's going to like go backwards and then turn, and it'll kind of just check out its surroundings. So one of the things you can do is say, if it sees something on the left whisker, let's go ahead and move backwards, and instead of halting, let's go turn right 90, and just to make it a little, yeah, that's fine, and then we're off and running. Okay, so we're just gonna let her roam, and then if we see it on the left and right, let's go ahead and move backwards, and then we'll do it sees it on the right, let's go a turn left 90, and then if it sees it on both, let's go ahead and let's just turn all the way around. So let's go like turn left 90, turn left 90. Okay, so let's just see what happens here. All right, so I fire this baby up, and okay, needs a little jump start there. Hit it again. Alright, here we go. Starting whisker roam. Okay, so I'm going to unplug this. Okay, and I'm ready to turn the motors on. So let's see what happens. Alright, here we go. So here it's cruising along, and it's going to see something. Left whisker. Turns right. Okay, so it's really got some. Try to block this a little bit. It's just kind of cruising around. Got plenty of these textbooks, so we'll just look at that. Look at that. Put that over there so you can see it. And it's just kind of checking out the surroundings. Good thing I got so many of these textbooks. And check it out. It's just roaming around. It's just kind of seeing what's going on. Look at that. Look at that. Almost got them all. Almost got it boxed in there. And it's roaming. It's just checking out what's going on. Sometimes it gets away. Come on back, baby. And look at that. And it's just roaming around. Alright, so awesome. So that's basically roaming with the the whiskers. Okay, so go ahead and give that a shot and play around with different programming constructs and making it do stuff. And so you're getting to the point where now you can make, you're moving the robot, but you're also doing something kind of cool. You're actually sensing the world around you. Okay, go ahead.